Welcome back to my channel. My name is Malaika, and today I'm going to be interviewing Garima Ahuja. She's a software engineer at Facebook, and she's done like multiple degrees, almost four, I think. And this is the fifth video in a series where I interview inspiring women in tech. So if you want to see more of that, I'll have them linked up above and down below in the description. So without further ado, let's get on with the interview. Hi. Hi.
Hi Malika, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good as well. Good day, glorious day. Great weather
Uh,
outside.
so, so do you want to introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a software engineer at Facebook currently. I've been in the company for 5 years in September. I would have been here for 5 years. Um, yeah, I currently work for Workplace, which is a great product. I don't know if you know about it, but it is,
I know
if
that.
you can imagine, you know about it?
Yeah, I do. It's like Zoom, but by Facebook, right?
Kind
So you
of
can,
like it's a little
yeah.
bit more than Zoom in that it's like more than a VC product. If you can imagine like a Facebook for a company where you're chatting with your colleagues and you're posting updates about your work and trying to organize the next bit, etc. That's what Workplace is. I really like the
Okay.
product. Feel passionately about it. Yeah, and within that, I work for the growth department, which roughly translates to bring more customers.
Okay. So, can you tell me like some recent projects you've worked on and like what it means to be a software engineer and yeah, like what you do on a day-to-day basis, kind of.
Yeah, so the most recent project that I worked on, I don't believe I can talk about that. Can I talk about a project of a colleague of mine?
Yeah,
Or,
sure.
right.
Or anything from
Uh,
the past as well, if you want.
Sweet. Okay, I can talk about the past. I worked in an integrity team before Workplace, so things are like more secreted there. Let me talk about my colleagues' projects. So recently, we've been working on search engine optimization, which is the idea is that if we improve the ranking of our product on search engines, then it brings us growth. That is a very like open-ended and technically hard project, which was so much fun. My colleague who's been working on it for quite some time now recently changed teams, so now I am responsible for like taking it from over here and wrapping things up.
So as a software engineer, what does a typical day for you look like at work? I mean, not at home, obviously, but like at
Yeah.
work normally.
So since I've been here a while and I'm more interested in like management side of things, I just started like this, I won't say transition, but like this shift in mindset, which basically it gives me more opportunity to do people side of work, which which would make me ready for like an engineer to manager transition. So I spend a lot of my time doing people work. So a typical day would look like um, mentoring a person, like let's say a typical week, because I probably don't take out every day and mentor my mentee, but like, yeah, in a typical week, I send out hiring emails to hire new people into my team. I oversee projects from different people on the team, and I try to mentor my mentee in a way that they become more independent and they're able to perform at their role well. So the idea is that I want to reach a place where my impact is scaled in the sense that as a coder, I feel like my impact is limited by how fast I can code. But as a people manager, I feel like the more number of people I can mentor and make them independent and put them out in the Facebook world, that is how much impact I can have.
That's nice. Okay, so can you talk about your education? I know you did some of your degree like while working, right? I think that's really cool. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I have a bachelor's and master's in computer science. I moved here while I was still midway my master's, and I finished it while being here. My master's in computer science involved like doing research and publishing research papers and then writing a dissertation. So that was something that could be done like in a distance way. It was not like your typical attend classes and get a degree sort of master's. Um, since then, I've also been studying because I kind of am a nerd and I have a hard time leaving the books down. So since then, I've kind of completed a bachelor's in psychology, a bachelor's in
Kind
theology.
of. That's a big
Yeah.
deal. Yeah,
And I'm currently halfway through my master's in psychology.
that's cool. Um, so who inspires you? Like, it can be someone you know personally, you can talk about them, or someone like in the media.
A lot of people inspire me.
Hmm.
For example, your mom inspires me. The kind of energy. So, for context, Malika's mom, she's the PM on our team and on a couple more teams at this point. I mean, she's the reason I joined workplace is because I'd worked with her before, and the kind of energy and attitude and competence she brings to the table is pretty cool. And you know that when you're around her, we're gonna get things done. And I really like that about her. Um, a lot of other people inspire me. I happen to have the good fortune of working with very talented people, and on a day-to-day basis at this point, it's also my manager Joe, because I'm thinking of going more towards management role. He's a great manager and a great role model to model myself after. It's just how subtle he is in his ways and how nothing is a surprise. He's really great.
Okay. What would be your advice to like students who are interested in jobs in tech but don't actually know where to start? Like, are there any opportunities they can chase or things they should be doing to en enrich themselves and make them more ready for a job or career, sorry, or degree in tech?
Yeah, I think starting early is great. So I don't know how young we're talking about, but like I started coding at the age of 30, and it was very simple programs, nothing major, but just to kind of like get an idea of how it is like to code, um, and if you enjoy doing it. For example, in my case, when I was coding, I felt that everything made sense in life. It was the one place where I had control over everything, and every bug, every little issue had an explanation, which often in life is not the case. And I felt just like this calm feeling of being in control, which I enjoyed, and being in power. And I wanted to take it from there. If you're in college and you're pursuing computer science and you have a little bit of experience already, I would say at that point, it's interesting to get into open source projects because your typical like software engineering jobs, you're not writing code from like 0 to 1 in the sense that you don't start with a blank program and then you fill it in. You start in a company, for example, Facebook has millions of lines of code. So to be able to, manage that kind of complexity and being able to go like, this is the relevant part, and this is how much I need to understand, and this is how much I need to change. It's a really important skill, and working in open source projects kind of helps you develop that early on, because you have to understand other people's code. It's also very good in a lot of other ways because you also get to see how other people write code, and you would be like, oh, that's actually a pretty cool way to write this. I did not think of that. So it's also like a very good learning opportunity.
Okay, that's nice. So a lot of people I know think that like tech is not important and it's not something they would like to pursue. Can you like debunk a few common tech myths? Like, because everyone thinks it's just boring, it's like sitting in front of a computer or doing like nothing all day. But I know you know it's not that. So yeah, can you say
More
something?
and more jobs are sitting in front of a computer, right? Like most of my psychology bachelor's and masters are sitting in front of a computer writing essays. I would say tech is not, it's a tool, it's a means to an end. And if those ends inspire you, then it's not boring. For example, if you say like writing is boring, but like if you're writing an essay about something that you're passionate about, you'll feel differently than if I told you to write about something that you do not care about at all. So I would say that's like a very generic statement. For example, um, more and more work in psychology in my master's. it is pretty, uh, it comes pretty handy that I'm technically versed. For example, I run experiments at Facebook. It's a generic A/B test of knowing what is performing better than something else, right? And that's a very standard practice in the industry that I picked up in tech, but it's also a very standard practice in medicine. And you get to run experiments in in psychology where you're like, okay, these were my control. This was my control group, which did not receive this treatment, but test group did receive it, and see if the characteristics that you're interested in are different. And you would do most of that programmatically, because you're not gonna like do all the math by taking pen and paper out and spending hours. You write a simple program that compares two sets of numbers and tells you uh, if there's a statistically significant difference, etc.
Okay, so to end off, what would you want your high school self to know?
Um, that is a very good question. I've never thought about it this way. Um, I would say that tech is also a lot about people than tech. So if I could like get early experience with working with a few colleagues as well. So instead of like working on an open source project by myself, which I did, getting like doing class assignments by yourself, which most people do, working on teams, and like learning to work with others, divide your work in a way that there's no like duplicate work, and everybody gets to like work on the part they enjoy. That makes a majority of our lives in tech. Because you can imagine working at Facebook is like working with like 50,000 employees,
Yeah,
and how to like effectively manage that is a very important skill. And I think group projects are something that I would encourage myself to do. I don't know how I would have done it. Like I could have gone to a faculty member and made the same case. But yeah, that's a
yeah.
skill useful.
Mhm. Okay, so I think that's it. It was lovely talking to you. Thanks for spending this time with me.
It's lovely talking with you as well. Is that it? Are we
I
off
think
the
that's
record?
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me turn off the recording.